Welcome to the channel, Farm with Nick. Thanks so much for joining me here on a special farm tour of a farm build here on the mod map Redstone County, Oklahoma. And this idea and suggestion was actually sent in by a subscriber to the channel. So shout out to you, Teddy Ross was the one who suggested this farm build. And I'd love to kind of take you guys around and show you everything today. So I was just leaving the store area and I'm almost up to the starting farm, which is right here to my left. You can see we have the combine out here. And I'm just gonna hop out of our side-by-side. So the starting farm is here. My build is actually just across the road. And I use this open lot, bus in the way, and I utilized most of this open field area, and I liked how I was able to tuck it in right next to the town center and everything, so you're very, very close to everything. So I left this like opening road area that loops all the way around the farm as well. And let me just jump into the build just to show you everything. So I left this footprint here. You'll notice it in the build. That loops all the way around the field. I kept the starting farm. I didn't take it off of this build, but it's right here. And then I just built right across from it, but I love the location, how you're right in town here. It's really, really nice. So just to show you, I purchased field 50 here, and it's right next to everything, which is nice. And you also have these smaller fields before I forget. So you have like 49, you have 48 that you can farm right next to 50. And then if you want to, you can still farm right across the road as well. And here on this map, Oklahoma, you'll first notice the texture of the ground. So I wanted to keep that characteristic of, you know, the map with the build as well. So let me kind of just step back, and we're gonna take it from this into this. So let's have a drive around the farm. I'll kind of point out a few things here and there that was unique to this build in particular, and then I'll do a final flyover at the very end, and also show you a lot of the buildings as well, a little more detail. So like I said, I didn't take away the starting farm. I left everything there on this build, but I wanted to make something unique to this map and to stay inside this footprint, like I said. So first, coming in here, you have your house and you have a garage right away. Now, one thing in particular I do want to just explain before I forget is the grass texture. So obviously you have the dirt texture, you have like this rock kind of sand look, and then you have this darker look. And so I mixed both in. You can kind of see on my pass here. The grass look, though, I went for this like lighter kind of shade. And if you've ever been to Oklahoma, you know, from what I remember, you know, it was a lighter shade when I was there. But there's this darker green shade, and the whole field was this darker green shade. So I went ahead, I went and used the painting app. So let me just get into the build just to show you real fast. So I went into here, I used this grass painting app texture, and then I painted it like this. I did the whole field, and then I went through and used this meadow grass, this first one here, and that's the look that I went with this build. So you get like that lighter look instead of like this darker green. And honestly, the the grass that is available on here, you could not do the darker green. So I went with this look for the, the main part around the farm here, even though it's still kind of surrounded by this darker green look. But that was just me. So anyways, we have a garage here. Nice little storage. Parking in here. I really like this kind of garage look here. You have a 2-car. You have these nice big bay windows here. And then you have your house right off of that. And this house is something I've not used, but I've been wanting to on this build. So I was able to use that. You have a little side shed here. And then you have like a little back patio here, a little sauna, barbecue. And then off of the patio here, you have a little swing, you have your deck, your pool, all that good stuff. And then, like I said earlier, this little drive that's around the field, I kept it the whole way. So I didn't want to take that away. But also, the dirt texture. With the roads and everything around the farm, I wanted to keep this kind of orange, brighter texture. So I did that as well. I didn't do any like pre-built roads here. And then you have your main barn right here. If I kind of loop back this way, so behind our pool area, you have another little drive-through shed. Just a cold storage shed, and then we have like a little, firewood, compost area for our garden, all that stuff. And then off of this drive here, you can come right back into town and get to all your sell points, restaurants, all that good stuff. So I like how this kind of looped into the back part of town there. So that's kind of unique to this build here. And like I said, this is a pull-through shed, so you can get in here and then just pull through the back part there. And then this is our main barn here. So you have your access doors here. Now, another thing I will say is all of these barns and mods for this build in particular can be found on all platforms. So console players, you are in luck. Everything is all platforms, nothing is unique to PC. Now we have my first kind of main building here, and it's plenty big. You get a lot of equipment in here, and I use the green texture paint for this building, and then I also use the green texture paint for this other storage pole barn over there off of the main white barn. And the reason I chose green, I was playing around with this build looking at should I do a red barn kind of build. I thought the red just happened to clash more with everything, and especially with the orangish, kind of reddish soil texture. I just didn't like how it looked, so I went with like that green kind of farm look, and then the white buildings as well. And then this pen is a pre-built sheep pen here, and or goat pen, and it's got some really nice like corrals and loading areas here. So this is the main part of the sheep pen. This building here is with it. Then I put like another little garden shed in here, and then this would be our other main sheep barn here. And this is just another barn I placed. You can see there's grass in there. Every time I load this build, it likes to put the grass from the sheep pen in here. So that is one thing. If you're doing a playthrough on this, you'll notice that if you do place this sheep pen down, it likes to re-add the grass every time you reload the game. Now, one thing in particular, I put a sheep pen here. You could easily change this out for cattle, horses, or even pigs. So it does not have to be sheep specific. I just did that just to kind of change out my build a little bit. But with that being said, you have all of this part of the field here to start, mowing. Or, like I said, you could easily put horses over here, have a couple different pens, or even cattle. So I'm just doing this as my use of it, but you could easily switch this out. You do not have to do sheep. But this was just my representation on the farm. And then we have like a little water tower here in the middle, you can see. And then we have a couple bins over here that you can use. 2 smaller bins, and then I have a larger bin out back that you can use for some crops. So are functional. Now on this farm, a bunch of junk and debris over here, I only have the one silo. But like I said, mostly you probably want to get some augers and stuff and then just use the bins. But so we have one little silo here, fuel tank, some seeds, off of this main barn, and then you have another storage right there. And then that kind of wraps around to the rest of it here. You have a nice main drive off of here that loops around the entire farm, which I really like how this layout came together and everything, and then that's about it. We have our main little shed up here by the house again. So let me hop into the build just to show you everything before we do one last little flyover here. And like I said, everything can be found on the mod hub. And first, this farmhouse, I don't think it came with anything, but it's kind of got that, stucco kind of look. And then this garage was part of a pack, but it's car garage, US ceiling. And then I kind of changed the texture a little bit to match more of what the house was. And then we'll go next here. This is called Old Barn. You can find that on the mod hub. And then after that, this is the O shed. This is part of a whole shed pack that you can get. And you can see there's the red default color. I just really like how it looks with the green. But if you're recreating this farm, yeah, feel free to do whatever you like. I just wanted to show you the contrast in color. Oops, so that one's white. These all, they are all kind of white to start. Alright, just to show you, we'll put a red. So, it doesn't look terrible, but I just wanted something that didn't clash as much with the gravel texture, so that's why I used the green. So there you go. But yeah, you can see over here there's a bunch of other barns that go with this pack. And then over here I put the smaller one, kind of representing, this would be more for the rest of my sheep equipment and whatnot. I would use this barn, it was my main sheep barn. And then we have this one's called Small Pole Barn, and it's just got the 1 doors on it, but I like that rusted look on the top. And then this one is the American barn with concrete silo, and I use the white paint app with that. And then this is another small shed mod that you can get, and it's got the doors here, and it's got the doors, or the door here, that you can do the drive-through and the pull-through. And then, like I said, I have a green bin here. And then we have 2 hopper bins right there. And then, like, just to add the decorations, you can see I added, like, you know, little garden shed there. Added some of the other little decorations and textures around the barns. Hopefully you saw a lot of those as I was kind of driving through. So a lot of little things here and there just to add those little finishing touches here around the build. So there you go. And like I said, shout out to Teddy Ross, a subscriber to the channel, for this great idea for a farm build. I kind of played around with it. I did look at different locations, and then I kept coming back to this one to kind of check it out. And then I played with the layout a lot. I can't tell you how many times I probably moved around some of these back barns until I found something that I really thought, oh yeah, this is unique, and I really thought the flow and the layout turned out to be pretty good at the end here. So, and like I said, feel free to use any of these ideas, take them for what they are, make them your own. If you are on PC, you are more than welcome to have this build if you'd like to plan it. And if you're on a console, like I said, everything can be replicated, and it doesn't have to be sheep, obviously. You know, feel free to make it what you want. If you're into doing horses, go for it, or cattle, you know, switch it out and do a different, you know, build off to that side, you know. But just to kind of give you an idea of something from scratch here, just a blank slate, you know, there we go. So I'll do one last little fly over here. Let me get into flight mode, just so you get a nice little aerial view here. So just across from the starting farm again, over the railroad tracks, and then right next to the shop and everything. So we have our main drive off of here again. You have your little barn in the middle, your main barn in the back, little backyard area, and then that loops around to our sheep pasture and back up to the front. So there you go. If you are new to the channel, I'd love to have you join the Farming with Nick community. Let me know what you think about this farm build, and check out my other farm builds here on FS25. Hit that thumbs up, that always helps me. Also, you can also hit that hype button, which helps the channel as well, get these farm builds kind of pushed out a little more. And feel free to check out my other playthrough series here on FS25. And if you are returning here to the channel, thank you so much for checking out my build. I hope you enjoyed it today, and I hope to see everyone on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.